lot of women are in abusive relationships and they are
Yes.
financially independent. उसके बाद भी they can't walk out. क्यों?
They are not prepared to face how their life will look emotionally when they get out of it.
What are the invisible signs of anxiety?
Anxiety presents itself in disguise.
Men क्या issues लेके आते हैं आपके पास?
Raksha, very interesting question because men usually नहीं आते.
रेशमा, कौन सा इमोशन बॉडी में कहाँ बैठता है?
Alright, emotions जो है ना, it's a very tricky place. क्योंकि unless and until you don't identify your emotion, you will not be able to figure out how to deal with it.
Okay.
तो इस सिचुएशन में हम क्या करते हैं ना कि पहले आप try to understand where do you feel that emotion in your body.
Okay.
Alright, so for example, अगर मेरे चेस्ट में बहुत हैवीनेस फील हो रहा है तो इट इज प्रोबेबली नॉट एन एंगर दैट आई एम डीलिंग विद, इट इज एंजाइटी. या फिर इफ माई जॉ फील्स वेरी टाइट, देन इट्स नॉट stress that's holding in my jaw, but it could be a fear of something that is trying to take control. And if it's my shoulders that are very tight, then इसका मतलब ये नहीं है कि मैं थक गई हूँ. इसका मतलब ये भी हो सकता है कि I am holding on to something that's very very sad.
Oh.
So depending on where your body is speaking about what you are feeling, हम ये identify कर सकते हैं कि exactly क्या emotion है.
Okay.
And that is what I call as labeling your emotion.
Okay. So heart में है तो it's anxiety.
Yeah.
यहाँ पर है तो it is sadness.
Yes.
Jaw में है तो it is
Fear.
fear. Anger. How is anger
Anger can be expressed in multiple ways, right? Anger is a very broad general expression. उसको अगर हम root cause पे identify करेंगे कि what is causing this anger, there's an underlying emotion to that anger, right? And then it shows up as anger, which is a last stage.
Correct.
But उसके पहले there are so many steps of emotions that one goes through, जहाँ पर हमें identify करना बहुत important होता है कि ये सच में anger है या फिर उसके पहले का कोई stage है. So anger is something जो हमें externally दिखाई देता है कि I'm shouting at people around me. But that is a result of something more that is sitting inside of me.
उस तक जाना है.
तो उस तक जाना है, and that is the core emotion जो हम कहते हैं.
So give me some core emotion that you got which eventually led to anger in one of your clients.
So
for example.
yes, so having faced anxiety again and again, for example, presentations देने हैं, you're not prepared because there's something happening in your relationship back home. You're not able to focus on your presentation, and when you actually are in front of the team to give a presentation, आप prepared नहीं हो because of all the things that are happening in your life, and you realize कि I screw up, मेरा presentation ठीक से नहीं हो पाया है. This happens once, it shows up again and again, to the extent that you start snapping at people around your family, even if they've not done anything. You might start snapping at children for no reason. And that's where you show that, okay, I'm getting angry and I'm snapping out at my child. But is the reason the child? Is the reason something else?
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So, Reshma, lot of women are in abusive relationships and they are financially independent. उसके बाद भी they can't walk out. क्यों?
Raksha, abusive relationship से बाहर आने में फाइनेंशियल डिपेंडेंसी से ज्यादा इमोशनल डिपेंडेंसी का रोल होता है, especially for women who've been working and are financially independent and stable. In my career, I've had the opportunity to do deep work and consultations with women who have been going through abusive relationships for years. Physical and emotional abuse, not just at the hands of their husbands, but also at the hands of their in-laws.
You mean physical abuse at the hands of the in-laws?
Yes. And even then, they're not ready to get out of the relationship.
क्यों?
The reason is that they're not prepared to face how their life will look emotionally when they get out of it. एक example देती हूँ, शायद उससे थोड़ी clarity मिले. So I had this case where the woman was an independent lawyer working in an MNC, earning really well. Was in an abusive relationship for almost 8 to 10 years. Now a lawyer in an abusive relationship, still holding on to the marriage and not wanting to get out of it. When I asked her what's the issue, she said कि it's not the pain of abuse, but the pain of loneliness that bothers me more.
My God.
And that's the emotional dependency that we are talking of.
So she was emotionally dependent with, on the husband.
Yes.
So ये बहुत आता है emotional
बहुत,
dependent.
बहुत ज़्यादा. And as and how we are living in nuclear families away from our, parents, and parents are staying somewhere else, our relatives are somewhere else, and we are totally somewhere else. This issue of loneliness causing a relationship to survive and thrive just for the sake of not being lonely is coming up more and more.
So how did this lady work out her issues?
She didn't.
She's still in the marriage.
She's still in the marriage. And she's still trying to find out supportive therapy, trying to figure out what can I do, what medicines can I take, what tools can I use. But the real problem is you need to figure out micro rituals that will make you emotionally independent rather than being emotionally dependent.
So what are these micro rituals?
Very simple things, like knowing when do I call a friend who can understand what I'm going through.
अच्छा तो वो फोन करो,
एक फोन करो, and knowing who that friend is to be. Somebody who's not going to be judgmental about you, who's not going to feed more emotions into you, but is just going to listen to you, because sometimes just being able to express उससे बहुत फर्क पड़ता है.
Okay.
Right? Probably trying to get into these micro habits of reflecting what's happening in your life and where do you want to take it, and in a journal every day. Small
about
tools.
Abuse also likho.
About abuse also. Write it down, because when we write, we are expressing and then we are reading it again. It helps us acknowledge what we are going through. It gives us, and so suppose I'm writing something down in my journal, like this is what happened to me today. When I read at it, it's something external of me that I'm looking at. That gives me a different perspective of looking at the situation from an external eye once again, even though that situation is my situation only. Right? That helps.
Any other micro ritual?
A lot of them, obviously. But for this specific situation, for the situation of abuse, I think we should definitely look at learning to sit with ourselves, because we started off कि हम loneliness के साथ, अकेलेपन के साथ इसका connection जोड़ रहे हैं. And getting out of a relationship is like अपने आप को एक loss के through लेके जाना.
Yeah, it's a death of a relationship.
It's a death of a relationship. और इसमें एक vicious circle होता है, जहाँ पर you are talking about experiencing emotions जैसे कि love, hope, grief, even fear. और ये जब इमोशंस एक दूसरे के साथ इंटरट्वाइन होके एक विशियस लूप बन जाते हैं, इट बिकम्स ऑल द मोर नेसेसरी टू टेक टाइम आउट फॉर योरसेल्फ एंड सिट विथ योरसेल्फ, एंड जस्ट सिट विथ योरसेल्फ. थॉट्स विल कम, थॉट्स विल गो. Just sit with yourself. It builds your ability to just be with yourself, not worrying about any kind of loneliness that will eventually happen, any kind of grief that you will eventually have to deal with. Just allowing that space to be with you and holding that space for yourself is very empowering.
So Reshma, any person, your clients who left the relationship, and what was that trigger? Abusive relationship उन्होंने छोड़ा.
A very recent case, and a very intricate one, because I know this person personally. We grew up together. And when she came to me, she had gone through a hell, physically, emotionally, and the reason why she could have the courage to get out of this.
बच्चे थे?
एक बच्चा था. And that's where I'm coming to. The only reason she came out of this and stood up for getting out of the relationship was because कि वो abuse अब बच्चे के साथ होना start हुआ.
I know what you're
so
talking.
अपने आप के लिए नहीं खड़े होने की हिम्मत हुई,
पर बच्चे के लिए
हो पाई. So कई बार it's the kids जिनके लिए और जिनकी वजह से decisions लिए जाते हैं.
पर रेशमा मुझे बताइए, इसमें पेरेंट्स का क्या रोल है? आई एम सीइंग इंक्रीजिंगली कि विमेन को पेरेंट्स भी बोलते हैं कि रहो. ये आप, डू यू सी दिस?
आई सी दिस ऑल द टाइम.
So parents want the marriage to continue.
Parents want the marriage to continue because of the societal expectation and stigma. most of the relationships that relationship issues that I have been dealing with, वहाँ पर concern ये आता है कि parents are not supportive. And that is the first place. वो एक पहली जगह है जब अगर मेरे साथ कुछ इश्यू हो रहा है लाइफ में तो मेरा सेफ स्पेस है मेरे पेरेंट्स. बट अगर वहां पे दरवाजे बंद हो जाते हैं और अगर वो मुझे अंडरस्टैंड ही नहीं करना चाहते हैं जस्ट बिकॉज कि ये समाज के दिशा से अलग है. आई कैन नॉट लीव द सोसाइटी, keep doing the guessing work, like you know क्या हुआ होगा, let them do the talking. ये अगर हम नहीं करना चाहते हैं तो पेरेंट्स का अगर सपोर्ट नहीं है तो it gets really difficult for a woman to, you know, it's like losing two big relationships, losing your parents and losing your marriage as well.
So Reshma, out of let's say 100% cases that come to you of abuse, by and large kitne parents are not supporting? I'm sorry I'm asking you to give me a statistic, but agar
in my personal clinical history, I have seen at least 70 to 75% parents are not supportive. In fact, I can easily say this number can go up to 80%.
कि मतलब चलाओ शादी
चलाओ, अपने लिए ना सही तो समाज के लिए चलाओ, अपने लिए ना सही तो बच्चों के लिए चलाओ, और अगर बच्चे नहीं हैं तो जरूर तुमने पूरी कोशिश नहीं की होगी इस शादी को निभाने के लिए. So that guilt of you did not try enough is huge.
Thank you. Okay, रेशमा, men क्या issues लेके आते हैं आपके पास?
रक्षा, very interesting question because men usually नहीं आते हैं. Counselors, therapists, people like us who work on emotional well-being, we see a lot of women coming to us, but men are very less, very rare. And when they do come, they come for something else, like a physical concern that is bothering them, या फिर emotional issues की वजह से कोई physical health issue हुआ है तो they will come. The problem is not that men do not experience emotional problems. It is that they do not get a safe space to express their emotions, and that is instilled in them since childhood.
आप वो example दीजिए उससे.
So since childhood, if
you speak about the circle that you did.
Yes. So there was this leadership circle that I facilitate, and in one of those leadership circles, a group of men who are working at senior management positions in corporates, they're sitting together in a circle, dealing with vulnerable discussions, right? And out of nowhere, this one gentleman speaks and says that, you know what, I must confess and admit that I am tired, and I think this is just enough. I really am so tired that this is enough for me. And the moment he said that, the energy and the vibes in the room shifted. And that shift was so plausible simply because
all men felt it.
All men felt it. They were sitting with it, but they just did not know that they could speak about it. They could share it. They could express it. Right? And the moment this gentleman said this, everyone started breathing again. It was as if they were holding their breath.
दूसरों ने share किया कुछ?
People opened up after that.
So men don't even say that they are
conditioned not to say. They're conditioned, and that conditioning is so strong. It's the conditioning. It's like, I have to be like this. I cannot be weak. If I show my emotions, if I show my vulnerability, I'll be considered weak.
पर to these men, what is your suggestion? Like, obviously, जाके therapist से तो बात करेंगे नहीं.
Obviously,
तो क्या कर सकते हैं?
Very small things. You know what I usually do, or ask men who are part of these circles to start doing is to take a 2-minute break in the evening, and just sit with yourself and ask yourself 2 things. What am I carrying today? And what can I keep out, or what can I leave out of me today? Just this mindful reflection of what am I carrying? What is it heavy that I'm carrying today? What can I leave out today? Helps them shift from, that burden and create some space for themselves.
Yeah. Thank you. तो रेशमा, कई बार होता है कि कहीं जाके यू फील कंप्लीटली ड्रेन्ड, सो व्हाट हैज रियली हैपेंड देयर?
Okay. So, drain as an energy, if we try to understand it, something that you have given a lot, right? हम कुछ
Correct.
बहुत ज्यादा देते हैं तो हमें महसूस
Yeah.
होता है कि अब हमारी एनर्जी खत्म हो गई है.
Correct.
That's what feeling drained is actually translated
Hmm.
into, right? And this happens when you don't set your boundaries. When you and when I say कि आप boundaries नहीं set कर पा रहे हो, उसका मतलब क्या होता है exactly? The meaning is that you are not able to identify कि मुझे कब बोलना है कि बस मैं इससे ज्यादा नहीं कर सकती हूँ या कर सकता हूँ. So not being able to say no, and this problem is especially prevalent in women. They by nature they are nurturers, so they really don't have the ability to say no, even though it is beyond their scope. So saying no to a project that has been put onto them, even if their hands are full, or not being able to say no for a for a family friends party, even if they are superbly extremely tired after a hectic day, a hectic week at work, or not being able to say no to a family or a relative that wants to come home for dinner.
Or not say no to their children.
Not saying no to the children comes like, even I struggle with it so many times, not being able to say no to children. So if, that identifying that boundary कि मेरा plate अब full है और अब it is okay to say कि okay अब नहीं होगा, थोड़ा सा break देते हैं, maybe we can come back to this again is also fine.
पर कैसा पता चलेगा कि मेरा प्लेट फुल है? वो तो बाहर जाके पता चलता है मैं बहुत थकी हुई हूँ.
यूजुअली हमें अच्छा, सो ये तो कॉन्सिक्वेंस हो गया कि बाहर जाने के बाद हमें पता चलता है कि मैं बहुत थक, राइट. एक चीज जो बहुत हेल्पफुल होती है वो ये है कि एक बिफोर यू कमिट टू एनीथिंग, बिफोर यू से yes to anything, just take a pause and ask yourself कि if I say yes to this, will I feel happy about it? Will I feel energized about it? Or will it only be a tick off? Or will it be something जो मैं किसी और की खुशी के लिए कर रही हूँ?
That's a good thing.
Yeah. So just it's a matter of taking that one small pause and asking yourself.
So I remember there was this incident that we went to a party, and हम जब उनके गेट के बाहर खड़े थे, घंटी मारने के पहले मैंने मेरे हस्बैंड को बोला कि I cannot deal with this. तो he said what? हम तैयार हुए हैं, चलो आधे घंटे में निकल जाएंगे. मुझे पता था नहीं निकल पाएंगे. So I left. I said you go in, I am leaving, and I left. But I realized that only when I was going to ring the bell. So
but even that mindfulness was really important at that point of time. Like दरवाजे तक पहुंच के
लगा कि मतलब 1.5-2 घंटे परेशान हो जाऊंगी.
Right. That's really, and that step is what it takes. Like that realization. Just take a pause and ask yourself, am I
really
ready for it?
This?
Yeah. Do I really want to do this?
Yeah. So Reshma, what are the invisible signs of anxiety?
Right. So anxiety हमें लगता है कि it always shows up as a panic attack. But that's not how it shows up. Most of the times anxiety presents itself in disguise. So that disguise can be feeling trying to micromanage things just because you're not sure that the other person is going to be able to do justice.
Okay.
It could show up as trying to repeatedly check and recheck before you submit something.
Okay.
Right. It could also show up as restlessness, and you just don't feel in the game of it, and you don't realize why.
Okay.
And these signs are invisible because you feel it's just me being me.
But it's not that.
But it's not that. These are very subtle signs that underlie anxiety. And when they are not addressed, or when you're not mindful of them, and when you don't take charge of these invisible signs, you will keep on struggling with them as a loop or a habit loop that gets formed in our life. Right? So many of us, we have this habit of constantly checking our reports before submitting them, trying to make it very perfect. It's not perfectionism. It's a very subtle way in which anxiety is showing up every now and then, right? And that's where identifying what is it that you are dealing with is really, really helpful. Because when you identify, you gain your control back. It's
Mm.
not the emotion that's controlling you, it's
Mm.
you who knows what the emotion is, and now you can figure out ways to deal with it.
So would you recommend going to a therapist अगर ये subtle signs of invisible signs of anxiety हो?
हाँ.
तो-
So ideally there are tools to cope up with these subtle signs. So that's where identification comes
हाँ,
first.
पहले identify
Right?
करो.
आपने identify कर लिया, तो there are tools like breath work, learning breathing techniques that suit you, right? Or maybe learning different journaling practices that help you ease out yourself. Or maybe there are different tools like, you get those very nice wooden breathwork tools. Keeping one of those handy in your purse, trying to doodle something into a doodle book. These are different tools which you can try to calm yourself down. But the moment the heaviness or the weight of the emotion feels more than what these tools can actually deal with, that is the time you should go and seek therapy and look at therapy as wisdom. It's not something that you should look at as a shame. It's something that's wisdom for you at that point of time.
Yeah. Thank you.
My pleasure.